man. Hello, rain. We need it though. I'll tell you what, if you're on the water at all in this past week, you'll notice a lot of our lakes, all of our lakes, rivers, whatever, are down. Water is way down. Tonka's down. Many lakes are down. Walking around by the Rum River by my house, painfully down. We need this rain. Speaking of which, looking outside, it's definitely coming down now. It was a wet morning. It was on and off. Now it's pretty constant here in the afternoon. But that's the nature of the beast. I had some rods and some tackle and some rigs I wanted to show you on what's working this week. They're underneath the cover of the boat right now outside after getting home today. I'm not going to take them out. So you can visualize what I'm talking about. All my crappie rods are in the boat right now with all of my gear. So I wanted to touch on some things. The first open water fishing report of the year. It is April 7th, which is awesome. We could have been out on boats for weeks. We had the first ice here in the Twin Cities. A few weeks ago. It iced up again 10 days ago. Just started skimming across the top. Not enough to do anything in terms of the world of ice fishing, but our joke around here this entire winter was, how many first ice can we have? We had many, it sure seemed like. So now we're in full swing open water fishing, as far as I'm concerned. It is go time. We're not going to get any more ice. We're not going to get any more snow. And it's full steam ahead. The forecast this next week looks pretty darn nice. We're seeing some mid to upper 60s next week. It looks absolutely amazing. It was pretty nice yesterday. We did have a bunch of wind. Friday was beautiful, super nice. Today, well, this is your typical first part of spring. So count your blessings. It's still almost 50 degrees. It is raining. Thank goodness for Blackfish gear. I lived in my storm skin today. I also had the rain jacket on a little bit when it picked up here and there, but for the most part, it was a storm skin, soft shell kind of day. So kicking things off again here with open water fishing reports. My plan and my goal here is to get one to you every single Sunday like I've done the last several years. And we're talking crappies right now. We're talking panfish here in central Minnesota. That's really all you can target. You can certainly target catfish and rough fish and things like that. I'm not doing much of that during the open water season. I am primarily targeting crappies right now. We definitely tangled with some bluegills, but I am actually targeting specifically crappies. So before we jump into crappies and what's going on and what's happening out there on the bodies of water that I've been fishing, a couple things I wanted to hit home on now that we're back into our boats. Make sure you do your proper maintenance. If you put your boat away in the fall without taking care of the lower unit, taking care of oils if that's the situation that calls for it, taking care of your trailer, checking your hubs, a number of different things, do it. Don't skimp on those simple things. I know it's not the most fun part of fishing. You want to be out there doing it. But I can tell you there's been a couple days this spring already where I didn't fish. I just sat and tinkered in the boat, checked everything, make sure everything is the way I want it, went through my gear here in the garage, went through a checklist, make sure I have my throwable, make sure I have my fire extinguisher, life jackets, fishing license if you haven't bought a new one yet. I chuckle because I just had somebody in the boat the other day that didn't have theirs. They had to buy it on site. Okay, those are some things you can do right now. Proper maintenance, just getting ready for the season. It's a long season. Make sure it's a good one, a productive one, an efficient one, and not a costly one, because this time of year you just skimp on some of the things. So some of those things are important. I'm big on taking care of your motor. I do the Mercury fuel treatment. There's a multiple step process. These can be found at Rapid Marine. There's 4 locations around the metro. I buy them right there. You can find them in many other different marine dealer places. But this is just a multi-step process dependent on your outboard. So make sure you check your specifications and things on what you should or shouldn't be doing, the types you should be putting in. But I use the fuel treatment for my 250 Pro XS. I like that. I just kind of run it through there. It's an additive. We don't always know what kind of gases we put in, even though the label at the gas pump says one thing. You just never know the quality. So I'm always treating a little bit. Goes a long way. These are pretty efficient, not overly expensive, and I usually just keep them in a tote in my truck. And as I fill up my gas tank in the boat, boom, there you go. Super, super simple. So that's my minor preach on making sure you take care of your outboard. Simple things we can do to ensure better performance. What are we seeing right now for fishing? People have been hitting me up a lot on social media, like, are they up shallow yet? Are the crappies shallow? it's very relative on the body of water. We have found fish as shallow as 2-3 feet of water. I don't believe personally that the shallow migration has started yet. We're just not there. Water temps on everything I'm fishing, surface temps, are 44 to 47. I mean, I haven't saw anything near 50. Even in some of these back cuts, it's still pretty cold. I mean, I've seen some water temps 42, 43 even. So we're not looking at anything shallow push, spawning movement yet. And that's a misnomer as well. Everyone thinks right away in April when these crappies move shallow, they're moving into spawn. No, they're not. They're moving in because that water's warm, it's comfortable, the bait fish is there. They're not going to spawn for a few weeks yet. You're not going to see that spawn happen until the end of this month and into the May month is when you see most of that spawning happen. So a lot of people see these females come through. They got big bellies. The eggs are there. Oh, the spawn. I'm telling you, they're still a few weeks away. So everyone thinks these early season movements are spawning movements. Now they're staging. They're doing things like that. They're thinking about it for sure. I mean, these fish don't. It's not like we have 9 months of pregnancy as humans, and in 9 months you give birth, right? No, these fish are water temperature driven. Sometimes it's duration of time, but most often than not, they feel their surrounding. So we need more consistency in water temperature. We need more overnight consistency, warm temperature, so that the water temperature doesn't do this throughout the day like it's doing right now. You get these peaks and valleys. We need more of a steady increase in temperature and hold for us to really find a better fishing pattern for these shallow movements. So that's my anticipation coming up in the coming weeks. Next week, we're looking at some mid to upper 60s. That should definitely heat things up. You're going to see a little bit more activity in the shallow water. But right now, I'm finding a lot of my fish in, let's say, 8 to 15 feet of water. That seems to be the norm. 8 to 15 feet is where a lot of these fish are sitting. So I'm finding fish on weed lines. I'm finding them just out from shallow flats where they're going to be in the coming weeks. So I'm paying attention to where I catch my fish, let's say in 2, 3, 4 weeks from now. And I'm finding fish just adjacent to that. It's been pretty productive. I'm catching them on hair. If you follow me on social media, that's no secret. I like hair jigs. I don't mess with minnows if I don't have to. There's been times I have to. Plastics have their place, and they have their place right now as well. Smaller plastics, your ice fishing jigs. I just have a lot of confidence in hair. I like the profile. I like how it fishes in the water. I like how I don't need to rebait. I don't need to readjust plastic. I'm very efficient. I've been fishing a few days with gloves on. My Blackfish air gloves have lived on my body, and I think that plastic is just a little more efficient for doing that. So, or hair, I'm sorry, hair, a little more efficient for doing that. So hair jigs have worked well. 64th ounce has been probably my mainstay weight. I have done some 32nd ounce, but 64th ounce is probably getting the nod more than anything else. I just like how that fall rate is. We're still dealing with relatively negative neutral fish. We're not dealing with a really aggressive pattern. Sometimes these fish just come right up and look at that bait. And I've seen where that crappie minnow kind of does this and moves around, then that fish backs off. So that hair just kind of pendulums, and I oftentimes just work that bait slowly back so that hair just kind of hops and swings back down, and then that fish just kind of stalks it. And I've been fishing a rocket bobber, so that thing just goes, just kind of pops up. I had a couple people ask me what a rocket bobber is. I actually think I have a all pink one in one of these drawers. Right here. At least you get a visualization of what I'm talking about. That's a rocket bobber. Now this one's all one color. It's all solid pink. I use half orange, half yellow. It gives me a little contrast. That bobber is going to kind of plop along like this, right? I'm working it. I'm hopping it. A fish bites. That thing kind of pendulums up. And small learning curve, and once you figure out that learning curve, I'm telling you, it's small. I've had clients with little to no experience in using these, and after an hour or two of catching crappies, they figure it out quick. You can kind of hop it, you can dance it, it works, and then that fish kind of grabs it, and that thing just kind of comes up, maybe flops back down. And once you pay attention to that, a bite indication is super simple, super subtle, but super simple to find. So I've been using these rocket bobbers. This is the ultralight version. There's a panfish version, so a lot of people grab that right away. Myself, I actually prefer this ultralight little stubby version myself for a variety of these situations. The panfish one will work well too, but I've had better success personally Guy next to me might tell you otherwise, but me, the ultralight version of this rocket bobber, you can sling these things a country mile. You can launch them, and if I'm fishing anything 5 feet down or less, I'll use a rocket bobber. Anything more than 5 feet down, even 4, I'll go to a slip bobber or something to that effect, or I'll pitch. I'll pitch and fish, and I'll work a bait back that way. So that's a great application for catching fish, and it's super fun. I don't care if you're 4 years old getting into fishing or 94 years old and you're a savvy veteran. Watching a bobber go down, or in this situation, pop up when you have a bite, excuse me, there's an adrenaline rush behind it. It's fun. It never gets old. It's awesome. This is one of my favorite times of year to fish. So water temps mid 40s. That's been my consistent realm. Not seeing anything really consistent in the 50s yet. And with this cold rain, it's going to cool off again tonight. But this coming week, we got some warmer temps next weekend. If the forecast hold, it looks like the lakes might be very busy, which is awesome. Love to see you all out there catching fish, having fun. If you happen to see me on the water, I got a wrap Blackfish boat. Putts on up, say hi. I don't mind, honestly. You're not intruding, you're not impeding. I'm not going to get upset. Putts on over, say hi, talk a little fishing, and we'll all have fun together. So that's kind of what I plan this week. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to fish hair. I'm going to fish small stuff. I got some of my number 10, number 8 tungsten jigs from ice fishing, drop kicks, things like that. I'm going to fish some plastics. I do have the Sassy Sting'em in the boat. I've caught some fish on that in the last week or so on some of the higher sun, warmer days when they want to start chasing, especially if I'm targeting fish in milfoil clumps. Let's say I do move into that 5 to 10 foot range, milfoil clumps. That plastic works really well, but I'm absolutely going to still have some hair on. So those are going to be my techniques. Paying attention to my electronics, my forward-facing sonar, looking for schools of fish, fishing through them, targeting them, whatever you want to call it. Paying attention to my electronics a lot. And like I've told you in past years, spring, all about water temperature. Look at your water temperature as you fish. Make mental notes of where you're catching fish and why, and see if you can duplicate that in other parts of the lake. So, not saying these fish are predictable, but to some essence, they kind of are a little bit right now. Do your homework, study lake maps, look at some of the spots. You catch them, and you know you catch them in a few weeks when they go shallow. And if you're striking out, just kind of think, I catch them right here in these boat docks. Same spot every year, the end of April. Well, they're not going to be super far away. So back off a bit, do what you know, and target some of these pieces of structure the way you would, much like an ice fishing late ice season situation. So get out there, have some fun. I'm excited. Again, I'm living in my Blackfish. This is Blackfish gear kind of weather. Tomorrow, I think, is some type of eclipse going on. I saw it all over the place. Sounds kind of neat. I don't know much about it, but if you do enjoy that kind of stuff, sounds like it's once in every 7-year window of time. So have fun, get out there, enjoy the outdoors, and I appreciate you for watching these. If you want to know anything specific, if you have anything you want me to touch on, just comment below on any of this kind of stuff, and I'll absolutely hit on it next week, or maybe even dive into a specific video about said topic. So fire away. I'm looking forward to another great open water season. It's go time. 2024 open water here in central Minnesota. Let's go catch some fish, have fun, be safe, get a kid out fishing, and as always, set the hook.